up, everybody? This is indeed the E-Man, chilling like a villain, singing like Bob Dylan. Keep it on the low with some double stuffed Oreos. I have a special guest in the house. Back in 2008, I moved to Rock Hill, South Carolina. And one of my first jobs I had was called Durango Bagel. And one of the people that I met was this gentleman I have on the show right now. One of our first conversations was about movies because, I love movies. And just to find out he makes short films, it completely blew my mind. He's made a number of short films that's won numerous awards. 2014's I Am Worthless. The films that I mentioned are he directed, he also wrote and edited. And then my personal favorite that I'm really excited to talk about, which is 21 Questions. He made that in 2013. Currently he has a new short film called Corpse Paint, and it is really, really funny. It's really hilarious. I finally want to welcome to the show Mr. Micah Troublefield. How you doing, Micah? How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, man, no problem. Good to see you too, man. Got the beard happening. That's what's up. That's the director's beard right there. Yeah, I called you yesterday, and I just finished watching Corpse Paint, and I was in McDonald's when I was watching it, and I was laughing my head off. And I want to just tell you a good job with that. All my interviews, I like to start off with the childhood. Everybody has an origin story. Just wanted to know, how old were you when you first fell in love with the cinema?
I would say I was actually in high school because I like fell in love with music and started like playing in like bad punk bands. And so I decided to take a class, like a video class, just so I could like make music videos for my punk band.
Oh, cool.
And then it turned out that like I'm better at and enjoy movies more than I still do music. I still play in bands, but yeah, it kind of led me to like an obsession with movies. And I went to college and kind of at USC in Columbia, South Carolina, and studied media arts and just kind of never looked back.
When I interviewed Chris Gervais, who's a mutual friend of ours, one of the questions I asked him was like, I see everything in movies. Like I see everything in kind of a movie form or whatever. And I feel like every person has that moment where they watch a movie and it like literally knocks their socks off. You know what I'm saying? Where it really changes their perspective of how they watch movies. It's one thing to watch a movie with your family, but then to watch something that you kind of discover on your own that's yours, that's a totally different thing. So for Chris, it was like Back to the Future, and it was
Okay.
Goonies. So what was it for you that really changed your life? What was the movie?
Honestly, it might have to be Trimmers because I don't know how old I was when that came out, but I remember like at school, like a friend telling me the entire plot of Trimmers and me being like, "Oh, that sounds like the greatest movie ever," and then watched it and it was like so much better than that kid describing to me on the playground. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like the first thing I could think of when I think of like truly being like excited for a movie and then it like not only living up to my expectations but surpassing. Maybe something like Men in Black kind of did that too, or that was like, and or maybe Fifth Element's a bigger one. Where Fifth Element, like
Mhm.
I think I saw it like three times in theaters because I kept asking my mom all to take me. Um, so yeah, I mean that was when I was younger. So I liked movies, but I never thought it was like something that you could do until that high school course.
Is that when you made the decision that you wanted to pursue it as far as making short films in high school?
Yeah. I started making some stuff with my friend Anil Dokai that I still make movies with. Me, him, Chris Gervais, and a couple other people all make movies together. Um, and yeah, we made a couple like a few short films in high school, and then he also went to USC, so we kind of just like did the journey together of learning how to make movies, and yeah, still doing it. I think we started 2004, so this is like the 20th anniversary of me and him making short films together.
And that's when you found your tribe. You found your tribe with Chris and Anil in high school. Like I was telling Chris, man, I was like, it's one thing like if you live in a bigger city or entertainment mecca like New York or Los Angeles, and you're doing this type of thing, but you living in a relatively small town like Rock Hill, where that seems like a impossible thing. And it's cool that you found your tribe early, that of people that love movies and are willing to put themselves out there to create movies.
I would say too, my high school teacher, he's still teaching. His name's Mr. Reed. I think he teaches at Clover now. But like, yeah, I was like so lucky to take that class and then also have other people in that class that yeah, got we all kind of like became obsessed with movies together. And then yeah, I wouldn't have expected that 20 years later I'd still be working with at least one of them.
Teachers are amazing, man. I mean, I didn't have any. I had a few teachers like that, like where like they were kind of like they kind of saw the potential in me when I didn't even see it in myself.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to have teachers like that that kind of be your guiding lights, especially at that age. What do your parents think about what you do?
They were always pretty supportive. I think they're hopeful that I would still 20 years later, I think they're still hopeful that like I'm going to start making like Christian movies or something, which you saw corpse paint. That's not exactly what I do. Um,
Right, right.
but they're supportive. They're nice about it. They've let me shoot at their house plenty of times and sometimes provide food and stuff. I mean, they were supportive of music too. They're not like super into like different art and stuff, but they've always been supportive.
That's good to have that support, man. You not only direct these films, like you direct, you edit, and you do a lot of things. A lot of times it's easy to get in your comfort zone and to stick with one thing. Do that. How do you pivot and do other things when sometimes your ego can get in the way too and make you
Yeah.
feel like, oh no, I should be directing, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean for us I call them like no budget movies. We make like very, very small uh budget movies. Like $1,000 would be like a decent bit for some of our shorts. So in that case, like you kind of have to like it has to be just like friends getting together and making something. Like we have access to a bunch of gear that we've accumulated over the years. So that helps. But I also like I would say 80+% of the time that I'm working on a movie, I'm the cinematographer and I shoot and light movies for friends. Only
Wow.
when I don't do as much as I should or as often as I should, but only when I go to like write and direct something, that's when I'm like, well, I'm also going to edit and stuff. Also, I edit for work and stuff, so I have all these skill sets kind of because we just had to. Like everyone in our group knows how to do pretty much everything. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, some of it's self-taught or whatever, but or in a mix of school and then just going out and doing it and learning the hard way. But yeah,
Yeah.
we kind of don't have a choice. So that's why we do it.
And I mean, you went to school for this at USC. Now looking back, do you have any regrets of going to school, or do you feel like, that was the direction that you needed to take in order to make films?
Um, the best thing for me was just having access to equipment. So like, I learned a lot in classes, but we learned even more by just like sometimes we kind of just pretend like we had a school project and check out equipment and go make a short film. Um, and that's the first time we ever had access to like actual lights, um, and stuff like I just wouldn't have had access to that without school. Like even after school for a while, we had to like go to Lowe's and get like floodlights and stuff like that. So it
Wow.
was, I don't know, like having that experience of like actual equipment, um, was important. I'm sorry, my dog is making noise behind me.
Is that
It's on the,
Meatloaf?
yeah, there's meatloaf down there.
I was doing this thing for love. Oh, but I don't need to sing that. They might try to like,
Yeah, it'll get
copyright
strict.
infringement or whatever. Um, yeah, it's really impressive to me. Like I said, I can't say this enough that because the town that I came from is a lot smaller than Rock Hill, and nobody that I know anyway did
Yeah.
stuff like what you guys are doing. You know what I'm saying? You guys like, pull up your bootstraps and you guys just decided to make films, and they're good. They're good, man. Like and this is kind of segue into like what I'm about to talk about next. Um, I never forget you guys invited me to the premiere of 21 Questions, and I think it was at the Hive. Was it at?
Oh, okay.
Was
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
mm,
downtown Rock Hill.
and even that was cool because I like it was I've never been there before. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going upstairs. I'm like, oh, this is a nice, cool setup. And no. It wasn't 21 Questions. It was I Am
Okay.
Worthless.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I think we showed them together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but Dude, like I said, I am worthless. I haven't seen it in a while, but there was a point in time where I will watch that around this time of year, just to just to bring me back to that time where I watched it for the first time, and it's a fun movie to watch. But 21 Questions, like, and I tell Chris, man, I said, man, I love that. It's a great short, and you wrote it, you directed it, you edited. We watched it recently, having our interview today, and I was like, yo, that came out in what, 2014?
Yeah, 2012 or 13, somewhere around there.
And there are a lot of similarities between, like, especially what's going on in movies with multiverse and the
Yeah.
multiverse thing, and but specifically with Loki,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
very similar. I'm like,
Yeah,
wow, you know what
I
I
clocked
mean?
that the first episode of Loki. I was like, oh, this feels like. I mean, it's like a big budget, better written version, but yeah, it's like that's exactly what we are trying to do. Is I feel like Loki episode one.
But yeah, but that came out before Loki, so I'm like, what I'm
Yeah,
saying, maybe I don't know.
that I got to
You
give
were kind
credit.
of ahead of your time.
The idea for that was Chris Gervais, who also started it too. But I wrote it, but it was his full idea.
Well,
I'm
like,
impressed with him.
so what do you? Well, I didn't know that, but what was the kind of inspiration behind it? When you people watch it, what do you want them to get from it? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, that one, it was really about like we'd been making shorts where we kept having too many people. Like you'd have like 10 people in a short, and it was like we were just trying to do too much. So that was like, how can we do a story that's just two people sitting at a desk and then not make that boring? So we figured out Chris had the idea of trying to do a time travel movie that doesn't leave like a desk situation. People can watch this online, by the way, too. I think it's like micahtroublefield.com has it somewhere. Um, but yeah, it was really that like how do we make like a movie that feels big but is like nothing. We're just sitting down in a room for the most part. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of is what like Loki actually has the budget to do whatever they want, but they do a lot of that too, where they're like it feels stripped down and small, but it's like this yeah, all this magic going around.
The aesthetic of it, the because it wasn't it filmed at like a courthouse?
Yeah, it's in the basement of there's a venue called the Courtroom that yeah, there's like art studios in the basement. It was in my friend I think our friend Amanda Varney, don't you know her? Do you
I mean,
maybe you don't know?
I don't know her. Is that the girl that played the girl?
No, but she no, it was her studio that she let us have access to. But yeah,
She
just it was
related to
somebody's
Wes?
yeah, yeah. And Wes is in the background. He's like the side character.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, I remember Wes. I think he's in Seattle now.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
they both are.
okay, yeah. I want people to watch the film first and then kind of come back to this because I'm about to give a spoiler. What does Chris say to the girl at the end?
Funny. I mean, it's we wrote this like 12 years ago, so I honestly don't remember if I even had an answer. I definitely don't have an answer at this point. I think I had an answer when we made it, but yeah, I really don't. I really don't remember. I think because I think we told the actors what they were. Well, one of them helped me write or like his idea or whatever. Um, but yeah, I truly can't remember. I also
Okay.
haven't watched that movie in like probably 6 7 years, and I need to bust it out.
Told Chris in the last interview, I think he has a gift for, you know, being like this, being this everyman, playing this everyman, but being in really odd and really weird situations. And yeah, I think he plays that really well. And even the guy at the desk, I thought he was really good. What was his name?
His name's Matt. He's had multiple last names. I can't. I'm blanking right now, but yeah, a really good, nice Charlotte actor.
Okay, cool. Deals with time travel, so you could kind of say, Back to the Future, kind of inspired it. But I even the suit that he has kind of reminds me of the suit that Marty had in Back to the Future. You know what I'm saying? Like when he first popped, that hazmat suit. I thought that was like
Yeah,
nice way of paying homage to one of the greatest films of all time.
and
Um,
that was our friend Steven Yunt made the costumes for both. Well, I guess spoiler, both time travelers. But yeah, he did. I think we just gave him like a couple $100, and he went and just like had fun and like showed up with something. We're like, yeah, that's incredible.
was the helmet? I was the helmet kind of a nuisance. You know what I'm saying? Because it was heavy.
I don't know if it was heavy, but it made noise, like, because it's just an umbrella with yeah, with everything removed. So it would like, I kind of liked it that it was like so silly. That's why in the movie he like, I have him take it off when he gets serious, because it's so silly every time. Like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
clacking back and forth.
Recently, I watched Corpse Paint, and can you tell us like what the the inspiration behind it? It's to me like when I watch it, it kind of gives me like a little bit of like it's like it's like three headbangers in the forest. Stand by me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Situation. And what was was that pretty much the inspiration behind it? Like a little bit of Stand by Me and kind of like
Uh,
a
we're kind of going Cohen brothers of like, I love when the Coen brothers have the dumbest characters of all time, like as the main characters. So we're kind of like, that was a big inspiration. Like let's have like, that one you can't watch yet. It'll be online eventually, but yeah, it's like a metal band finds a dead body in the woods and then has to convince someone that they didn't sacrifice this old lady for Satan. And it's very silly, kind of dark. Um, but yeah, a lot of it was like, that one I co-wrote and co-directed with my friend Chris Nolan, not the not the famous Chris Nolan,
right, right.
but he's been in black metal bands like his whole life basically, and I love a costume. Like I love a reason to have like characters wearing stuff. So like nothing's more of a costume than like full corpse paint, which is like what black metal bands wear, where you have like the white and black face paint, and they have like like studded spikes and leather and whatever. So that's just like such a cool aesthetic. So we've written a bunch of stuff together, but that one we were like, let's write something we could actually make. And his band already had all the like arm bracers and all that sort of stuff. And him being like in that world also let me write the dumbest thing ever. And then he'd be like, well, I actually like black metal, so he'll like change it a little to make it like a little less stupid. But yeah, it really was like, let's write the dumbest Southern characters possible and just put them in funny situations.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. I like the part where the guy's like, play the music, and he just starts headbanging. What was it? What's his name?
Goblin is his character. His name in real life is Alex. He's a two of those guys were in a local metal band called I'm blanking on the name right now, but like a really good metal band that I really like. And then yeah, everybody in that movie is like a musician in some way or another.
Cool. Yeah, I know Chris plays too. Um,
Funeral Chic. I don't know why that escaped my brain. I'm a big fan, but
what made you choose the song "All My Life"?
so that I won that, like that's 100% my pick. That I don't think Chris is stoked on it as much as I am, but to me that's
Mhm.
like one of the perfect songs. And as a kid, I used to like mow the lawn and like sing it at the top of my voice with my like Walkman on. Um,
Nice.
like I don't think there's a more fun song to sing. So Chris Nolan had the idea for lip syncing or like singing with the headphones on, and so I kind of like, I think Chris Gervais put the idea of like Usher or something like that, and I was like, I like that idea, but if we're going that route, it's got to be Casey and JoJo. I
Nice.
just Yeah, I just think that's an incredible song, and it's funny and it's cinematic. Like it kind of works when you bring it back.
Yeah. And they're from the Charlotte area, so that's really
Oh,
cool.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, they're from well, Casey and JoJo, but the whole group which they originated from, which is called Jodeci, they're from the
Okay.
Charlotte area, and they're actually related. They're first cousins with Fantasia, who was
Oh,
like
okay.
a
Yeah.
singer on American Idol.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think Anil worked on her reality show.
my boy Chase the Train, choo choo. I didn't expect to see him in the film, and I haven't seen
Yeah.
him in a long time. So why? What made? And he's pretty funny. What made you choose him? Or cast him in the role of the hunter?
Yeah. I mean, I've known Chase for, I would say, almost 15 years. I'm not sure, but I mean, he's just a hilarious guy. He's a bigger than like life character in real life. So I knew that if we just write him apart, that he's going to be very silly. Um, and then also like kind of play it straightforward. We actually showed it a few months ago in Rock Hill, and like it almost got like it got like a murmur where people were like, there was a couple people being like, "Is that shit?" Because you don't fully see him at first, and then he like pulls off,
Right.
and you see who he is. There's like it was almost like a sneak attack or whatever on the Rock Hill audience. Everybody's like, "That's Chase, that's Chase." Um,
Nice.
yeah, he's just I mean, a local character. He's incredibly funny, very charismatic. So yeah, just kind of wanted him to just be himself, but even like more silly.
Definitely. Give me your top 5 films of all time. I'm talking about your top 5 films that you could watch over
Oh,
and over again. Yeah.
okay. For sure, I'd have to put Monster Squad's got to be top five.
Okay.
Uh, Raising Arizona maybe is that might be number one. Raising Arizona.
Hmm.
Um, I said Tremors. I think Tremors makes it into my top five. Uh, it's got to be a horror movie. Maybe The Thing would be in there. God, and then of all the movies in existence, what's the fifth movie I'd pick? Gosh, it's hard to say. I mean, I'll just because I already talked about it, I'll say Men in Black. But or no, I'll say Can't Hardly Wait. That's my number five pick.
Oh, nice. Oh man. One of my favorite lines of that movie is when no, he says, "Love burger, well done."
Yeah. Did anyone order a love burger?
But
Yeah.
you never hear him play, you never hear him perform, and so it's just always this mystery, like how do they really sound?
But
They
yet they have a reunion in the show. Do you guys want to get the
right,
band back
right.
together?
Oh man,
Yeah.
love that movie. And then
Yeah.
the girl, who Kenny had,
Yeah.
ended up falling for. I thought she was so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that's an amazing movie. Every time I
Yeah.
write, especially when I write for Chris Gervais, I'm always writing for Ethan Embry and Can't Hardly Wait when he like spills his guts out or whatever. Like I always write that, and like
Yeah,
Chris Gervais is really good at like delivering those like 21 questions when he has his monologue. Like I'm 100% writing for Ethan Embry.
that is so cool. Embry was supposed to before, when they were talking about making X-Men 2, and they were trying to cast Nightcrawler. He was originally supposed to be
Ah,
Nightcrawler, but he couldn't do it, and Alan Cumming ended up doing it instead.
that's interesting. I think he could be great at something. I don't know if I'd want him as Nightcrawler, but I'll watch him in pretty much anything. Now he's like a bit like buff and scary,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Um,
he's still great.
Curious on what you think about like the state of affairs in the movie industry nowadays. And I probably said this before on my podcast. I feel like there's no real anticipation anymore. Like I remember, like back in the day, like a movie would stay in a movie theater for maybe at least 6 months, and
Yeah.
then like or longer. Something like Home Alone would stay in the movie theater for a year, and then when it finally comes to VHS, you're super excited to get it on VHS, and you'll watch it over and over again because you want to memorize the lines, or you just what I'm saying, or you enjoy it so much you become obsessed with it. Now it's like a movie is lucky to stay in a movie theater for maybe at least 2 months, and then it's like quickly goes to streaming, and it's just it's a very different time now. Even this past summer, it wasn't a really big blockbuster summer like it normally is. Like I mean, not to just go by numbers, but Deadpool made $1 billion, and then Inside Out, surprisingly to me, made a whole lot of money. And it
Somehow
wasn't.
Furiosa did not make a ton of money, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a very different time, and I was wondering what's your take on it, because it's like I don't want to believe that movie theaters are dying. That was
Yeah.
something that was put out there years ago, even before COVID. Um, but things have definitely changed, but in some good ways and some bad ways, because like I feel like you could have, even though the movie came out 2 years ago, which is crazy. I didn't realize this, but Everything Everywhere All at Once, it didn't have a huge budget, but the story was so good, it didn't matter, and it didn't need a huge budget, and it made a lot of money, and it crossed over. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to know what your opinion, as far as like the state of affairs, and like as far as like movie theaters and the state of and box office and all this other stuff.
Yeah. I kind of have some conflicting views on it. Like one thing I do really miss, but also in this is where I'm conflicted. Like especially in like high school, like it used to take me like I remember it took me like 2 years to track down like the movie Dead Alive and then like finally get a DVD that I like it was like maybe the first thing I ever bought on the internet. And so it's like after 2 years finally get it and watch it. It's like the greatest that might be in my top five. I don't know. It's like one of the greatest experiences ever. So you don't have that anymore, but like you can just watch stuff. So it's also nice. So you're missing sometimes it's like sometimes you gain something from not having access to things, but I think I would keep what we have now of having access to everything or like too much. I would keep that. Um as far as theaters go, yeah, I'm not that great at going to theaters anymore. I don't know. I changed my ways after COVID, so I only go when Anil drags me out to the theater. So I go about like once a month and see a movie with him.
Mm.
Um, I love the theater. I think people are kind of awful sometimes, so it it's heartbreaking when you like do go to the theater and then like people are kind of ruin the movie. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, I wish that would just get better. Like I wish we had um Alamo Draft House where they would like, police people just not being
Yeah. I
horrible.
was just about to mention them because like I feel like
Yeah.
they not only do they do that, but they also bring a new level of excitement. Like you're able to have like certain movies they'll bring there where you can sing along and like
Yeah.
they have movie themed drinks and all. I mean it's an experience, and I feel like that's really missing. I feel like the last time I had a real true blue movie going experience was with Endgame.
Yeah.
Deadpool too, but with Endgame, whereas like for the past 10 years I've been keeping up with this series and
Yeah, it
it
felt
just
huge.
builds and
Yeah.
builds. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like when you get to that end game, it's like it's more than just watching it. I experience it because I everything makes sense, everything flows, every
Yeah.
piece of dialogue, the score, everything. You know what I'm
I had kind
saying?
of similar with like Star Wars Episode 7. Like that was like a perfect theater experience where like I guess it helps that everybody bought their ticket like months in advance. So like everyone was there like so excited and like yeah, that was like a that was uh Avengers was a big one too, but the I would say episode 7 was like the last time that I was like, oh my God, like the power of theater or whatever. I've had other moments that were good like that, but that I mean there is nothing to replace that when that happens. But yeah, I haven't been having that often anymore. So
Yeah, and even with that, you talk about the Force Awakens, right?
yeah.
Um, Even
It,
with that, I watched that with my friends. We were excited because we didn't know what it was going to be
yeah.
like. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, and I just get to my nerves. Unfortunately, I was spoiled by it because I was just on Facebook
Oh
minding my
yeah.
own business, and somebody said blah 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 blah. I'm like,
I
really,
stayed far away from it. We actually
dude?
sat down. I sat down in the theater having knowing nothing, and the person beside me started to say, "Did you know that?" And I was like, "No, no, stop!" It's like
Right,
I've spent a year like avoiding the internet, and so
right.
yeah, I survived.
And it's like I feel like nowadays it's I don't know if they do this on purpose or not, but I feel like a lot of times like they set it up to where like you actually do, especially with something like that's of Star Wars related or Marvel, where you if you're on the internet a lot like I am, you
Yeah,
actually do have to watch it not even premiere day, the day before. Unfortunately, they don't have the midnight showings because of what happened in Colorado. But I mean, like you have to like with Deadpool, I had to watch it on Thursday because I knew if I would get online, it's what I'm saying, somebody's going to spoil it. And thank God, because man, if I would have got spoiled by some of those cameos, I would have been pissed.
and
Have you
don't
seen it
spoil
yet?
it. No, I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I was about to say
Okay.
don't spoil it for me.
Oh,
I've
I'm
had
surprised you haven't been spoiled yet. Shoot.
yeah.
What are some of your social media platforms and how can people reach you?
I'm on Instagram. I don't know what my Instagram handle is, but it's just you can find me under my name. I also have I said earlier, but micahtroublefield.com. Also strawhousepictures.com. I think it's the same. I think they all go to the same place, but Strawhouse Pictures is like me, Chris Gervais, and Neil Dokai, Chris Nolan, some other friends. That's when we make a movie, that's what it's under.
Okay. Well, man, again, thanks for your time. I appreciate you, man. I want to say too, because this whole thing is about giving a person their flowers. And that's why I called it a special delivery show, man. I want to just say thank you for just being a good, not only making amazing films and everything like that, but also just being a good friend whenever I needed your help. Like if I needed a ride from the train, coming from the train station, you never hesitated, man. And you've always been really kind, and it shows, man. And I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm glad to have been a friend.
Before you go, favorite movie snack of all
Favorite
time?
movie snack? Well, the most important thing is Diet Cherry Coke. So that's more
Mm.
important to me than the snack. But I'll do something like Butterfinger BBs or something peanut butter based, like Reese's something. But yeah, the Coke, the cherry Coke is more important.
Have you tried Reese Pieces? I call them Reese Pieces. Reese's
Yeah.
Pieces, and combine it with some popcorn, unbuttered popcorn.
Oh, oh, it's great.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Or oh,
Amazing.
actually, I take it back. You can never find these, but the pretzel M&Ms with like a diet soda. Oh, that's my favorite thing.
Oh my gosh. I never had them, but they always look cool.
Yeah.
I always wanted to try snow caps.
Oh, I don't know if I ever had snow caps. Are they like Klondike bar, but like small? I don't really know what they
Mm-mm,
are.
they're almost like little Hershey Kisses with these
Okay.
like powdered sugared beads on them. And they kind of melt in your mouth. And
Yeah.
they always have them on display at movie theaters, like bigger movie theaters, but I've never had them. But again, thanks for your time, man. I hope you have an amazing day, and thanks for being on the show, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Talk to you soon.